Have you ever popped a bottle expecting celebration, only to find sparkling disappointment? Americans spend millions on champagne each year, yet many can't tell quality from marketing. Some bottles coast on fancy labels, while others deliver genuine luxury in every bubble. Real champagne comes exclusively from France's Champagne region, made with Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier, using centuries-old methods, aged on lees, and hand-riddled to create signature flavors. Terroir, the chalky soil, cool climate, and specific sunlight, matters. But not every bottle honors this tradition. Some prioritize volume over authenticity. Today we rank 15 popular champagnes, from worst to exceptional. 15. Andre. If champagne had a costume jewelry section, Andre would be the centerpiece. Bottled in California and sold for under $10, it's technically sparkling wine, not champagne, but supermarkets shove it beside the real thing during holidays and New Year's Eve. The label promises celebration. The liquid delivers something closer to carbonated regret. Pop the plastic cork, and aggressive bubbles hit first, with almost no aroma. There's a faint sweetness, like fizzy sugar water, but none of the depth that defines real champagne. No brioche notes, no minerality, no complexity. The finish vanishes almost instantly, leaving a chemical aftertaste that lingers unpleasantly. Over ice or in mimosas, it hides behind juice, contributing nothing. Andre knows its audience. It's the bottle you grab when you need 50 glasses for a wedding toast, where nobody's tasting anything. Cheap, functional, and everywhere. From gas stations to grocery stores at 3 a.m., it prioritizes accessibility over quality. Calling it champagne is like calling fast food gourmet dining. Mass-produced, characterless, and utterly forgettable, Andre earns the bottom spot in our ranking. It's not offensive, just a sparkling reminder of everything champagne should never be. Convenience over craftsmanship, fizz without flavor, and style without substance. 14. Korbel has been America's go-to sparkling wine since 1882. Brewed in California's Russian River Valley with a process they call méthode champenoise. The branding leans hard on tradition, French techniques, and that iconic label design that screams celebration. But strip away the marketing, and you're left with a wine that tastes more industrial than artisanal. The aroma promises apple and citrus, but the palate delivers mostly sweetness and pressure. There's carbonation everywhere, aggressive bubbles that feel more like seltzer than champagne. The fruit notes are there, faint and artificial, like someone described pears to a chemist who'd never tasted one. The finish is short and slightly bitter, leaving behind a metallic tang that doesn't invite a second sip. Korbel's strength lies in its consistency and price point. At $15 to $20, it's the middle ground between Andre's desperation and actual champagne's elegance. It works in mimosas and bellinis, where other flavors mask its shortcomings. Bartenders stock it because it pours clean, and guests rarely complain. It's the sparkling wine equivalent of elevator music. Present, functional, completely forgettable. What frustrates serious drinkers is how Korbel positions itself. The label whispers luxury while the liquid shouts compromise. Real champagne undergoes secondary fermentation in the bottle, aging on lees to develop complexity. Korbel mimics the process, but rushes the timeline, sacrificing depth for volume. The result is technically competent, but spiritually empty. Still, millions of Americans pop Korbel every New Year's Eve, convinced they're drinking champagne. The brand's dominance proves that marketing beats authenticity when price matters most. For celebrations where quantity trumps quality, Korbel delivers. For anyone who's tasted real champagne, it's a reminder of what you're missing. 13. Cooks, California. Champagne wears its budget badge proudly. Priced to move and designed for parties where nobody remembers what they drank. It's the sparkling wine you grab by the case when hosting a crowd that cares more about the toast than the taste. Born in 1859 and now owned by Constellation Brands, Cooks has survived by staying cheap and available. The bottle opens with a friendly pop and immediate fizz. The aroma is faintly fruity, sweet, and simple, like white grape juice left in the sun. On the tongue, it's light and sugary with aggressive carbonation that overwhelms any attempt at complexity. There's apple, maybe pear, buried under bubbles and residual sugar. The finish evaporates instantly, leaving nothing but foam and a vague memory of sweetness. Cook's doesn't pretend to compete with French champagne. It's honest about what it is: a mixer, a toast filler, the bottle you bring to a potluck where wine snobbery would feel out of place. In a mimosa, it performs adequately, letting the orange juice do the talking. In a Bellini, the peach puree masks everything. Neat, it's a struggle. What Cook's understands is volume economics. Weddings, office parties, and holiday brunches need affordable bubbles in bulk. Cook's provides that without breaking budgets or pretending to be something it's not. The label doesn't promise elegance. It promises celebration at a price point that makes saying yes easy. Critics dismiss it as sparkling sugar water, and they're not wrong. But Cook's never aimed for critics. It aimed for accessibility, and in that mission, it succeeds completely. Is it good champagne? No. It's not even champagne. But for what it costs and where it's sold, it delivers exactly what it promises. Cheap fizz, easy smiles, and zero pretension. 12. Freixenet. Freixenet's distinctive black frosted bottle has become synonymous with Spanish cava, a sparkling wine that borrows Champagne's methods but speaks Catalonia's language. Founded in 1861 in Sant Sadurní d'Anoia, Freixenet is the world's best-selling cava brand, moving over 100 million bottles annually. That volume comes with compromise. The aroma opens with green apple and citrus, clean but one-dimensional. On the palate, it's crisp and dry, with fine bubbles that feel more refined than Corbel or Cook's. There's a hint of almond, a whisper of toast, and a minerality that suggests actual winemaking happened here. The finish is short but pleasant, fading without leaving bitterness or regret. Freixenet's appeal lies in its balance between quality and affordability. At $12 to $18, it's the sparkling wine that doesn't embarrass you at dinner parties. It pairs decently with appetizers, holds its own in a champagne cocktail, and can be sipped without grimacing. Bartenders respect it. Sommeliers acknowledge it. Casual drinkers enjoy it. The problem is that Freixenet never transcends competence. It's well made, but safe, hitting every technical mark without ever surprising you. The traditional method production shows in the mousse and mouthfeel, but the grape selection and aging timeline keep it firmly in everyday territory. It's sparkling wine that knows its lane and never tries to pass. In the American market, Freixenet occupies a smart position. It's the upgrade from California sparklers without the price jump to French champagne. For brunch enthusiasts and casual celebrators, that's perfect. For anyone chasing complexity or terroir expression, it's a stepping stone, not a destination. Freixenet earns this spot because it's honestly good at being affordable, even if affordable means predictable. 11. Mumm Napa. Mumm Napa represents Champagne's California experiment. Established in 1985 as a partnership between French house Mumm and Seagram, it brought Méthode Champenoise to Napa Valley with hopes of creating New World champagne worthy of the name. 40 years later, it succeeded in being respectable. Not remarkable, just respectable. The winery sits in Rutherford with estate vineyards and traditional production methods. Bottles undergo secondary fermentation, extended lees aging, and hand riddling. The attention to detail shows. Mumm Napa pours with persistent bubbles and aromatics that hint at brioche and ripe pear. On the palate, it's creamy with apple and citrus notes, moderate acidity, and a clean finish that lingers just long enough to feel substantial. Compared to California competitors, Mumm Napa wins easily. It has body, structure, and a seriousness that separates it from mass-market sparklers. The Blanc de Blanc's expression shows real elegance, while the Brut Prestige offers reliable everyday drinking. At $25 to $35, it's priced fairly for what it delivers. But here's the problem. Put it beside actual champagne from France and the gap becomes obvious. Napa's climate produces riper fruit with less acidity, resulting in rounder, softer wines that lack champagne's precise minerality and tension. Mumm Napa tastes good, but it doesn't taste like champagne. It's a different conversation entirely. American wine lovers appreciate Mumm Napa for what it represents: domestic quality, French techniques, and pride in regional winemaking. It's the sparkling wine that proves California can do more than imitate. But in a ranking about champagne specifically, it sits here because geography matters. Champagne is a place, not just a process. Mumm Napa honors the craft, but can't claim the terroir. That distinction keeps it in the middle of this list, respected, but not revered. 10. Piper Heidsieck. Piper Heidsieck wears its Cannes Film Festival partnership like a red carpet gown. Since 1993, it's been the official champagne of cinema's most glamorous night, pouring for celebrities and directors in a carefully cultivated image of Hollywood elegance. The branding works. That distinctive red label catches eyes and promises sophistication. But beneath the marketing lies a champagne that's technically sound without being soul-stirring. Founded in 1785 by Florin Louis Heidsieck, the house survived revolutions and wars to become a reliable mid-tier producer. The Brut NV, their flagship, opens with bright red fruit aromatics, apple, and light yeast. The mousse is fine and persistent, coating the palate with decent creaminess. You taste strawberry, citrus zest, and a hint of brioche before a moderately long finish that fades into subtle almond notes. It's pleasant champagne, well-balanced, approachable, and crowd-pleasing. The acidity keeps it refreshing, while the dosage adds just enough sweetness to smooth rough edges. At $40 to $50, it occupies that sweet spot between affordable celebration and premium indulgence. Restaurants stock it because diners recognize the name. Hosts pour it because guests rarely complain. Yet, Piper Heidsieck never quite transcends its celebrity associations. The champagne tastes good, but you're always aware you're drinking a brand, not a philosophy. There's craftsmanship here, absolutely, but it feels calculated for mass appeal rather than artistic expression. The winemaking is clean and commercial, hitting all the right notes without ever composing something memorable. Critics sometimes call it Hollywood champagne, a backhanded compliment suggesting style over substance. That's not entirely fair. Piper Heidsieck delivers solid quality at a reasonable price. But in a category defined by houses with centuries of uncompromising vision, being solid isn't enough to climb higher. It's champagne that photographs beautifully and drinks pleasantly. Sometimes that's exactly what you need. Sometimes you want more. Before we pop the top 5, let's make a toast to honesty. If you've ever been burned by overhyped bottles or saved from bad buys by real reviews, hit that like button and subscribe. We're ranking the truth one pour at a time. It costs nothing, helps us keep going, and tells the algorithm you've got great taste. Now, back to the bubbles. 9. Nicolas Feuillat. Nicolas Feuillat shouldn't exist. It's a cooperative brand, a union of 5,000 growers pooling their grapes to compete with historic champagne houses that have been family-owned for centuries. Founded in 1976 and named after an entrepreneur who never made wine in his life, it represents modern champagne's democratic revolution. And somehow, against all odds, it works. The Brut Reserve pours pale gold with persistent mousse and aromatics of white flowers, green apple, and subtle brioche. On the palate, it's fresh and balanced with crisp acidity, creamy texture, and flavors that develop slowly. Citrus zest, pear, and light yeast notes build into a clean finish that lingers with mineral precision. It's not complex champagne, but it's honest champagne, made with attention to fruit quality and traditional methods. What makes Nicolas Feuillat remarkable isn't artistry, it's consistency at scale. As France's best-selling champagne by volume, it maintains quality across millions of bottles annually. That's harder than it sounds. Cooperatives often struggle with uneven fruit and compromised winemaking, but Feuillat's centralized production and strict standards keep their champagne reliably good. The brand's positioning is clever. It's priced below prestige houses at $35 to $45, making it accessible to everyday drinkers while maintaining enough quality to satisfy enthusiasts. Restaurants use it for by-the-glass programs. Home cooks pair it with meals. Wedding planners recommend it for budget-conscious clients who still want real champagne. Critics sometimes dismiss it as industrial, and technically they're right. This is factory champagne produced with efficiency and scale. But efficiency doesn't automatically mean soulless. Nicolas Feuillat proves that modern methods and traditional respect for terroir can coexist. It's not trying to be Krug or Dom Perignon. It's trying to be honest, affordable, and consistently excellent at its price point. In a world where champagne often means paying for history and heritage as much as liquid, Nicolas Feuillat offers pure value. The bottle doesn't carry centuries of prestige, but the champagne inside earns respect, glass by glass. That's why it sits here, above the celebrities and California pretenders, but below the houses where history flows as freely as wine. 8. Taitinger. Taitinger champagne tastes like elegance decided to take physical form. Founded in 1734 and family-owned since 1932, this Reims-based house has built its reputation on restraint, finesse, and an almost obsessive focus on Chardonnay. While other champagnes pursue power or richness, Taitinger chases lightness with the precision of a ballet dancer. The Brut La Française, their non-vintage flagship, opens with delicate aromatics. White, flowers, citrus blossom, and hints of brioche drift from the glass like perfume. The first sip confirms the house style immediately. It's bright and vibrant with dancing acidity, fine bubbles that feel like silk, and flavors that unfold gradually. Lemon zest, green apple, white peach, and subtle almond notes weave together in perfect harmony. The finish is long, clean, and mineral-driven, fading with whispers of chalk and fresh bread. What sets Taitinger apart is its Chardonnay dominance. Most champagnes blend 40% Chardonnay, 30% Pinot Noir, 30% Pinot Meunier. Taitinger flips that ratio, using 40% Chardonnay or more to create champagnes that emphasize freshness over weight. The result is wines that feel almost weightless, gliding across the palate rather than gripping it. The house's commitment to artisanal production shows everywhere. They own Premier Cru and Grand Cru vineyards. They age their wines longer than required. They manually riddle bottles in ancient chalk cellars beneath Reims. These aren't marketing gestures. They are philosophical commitments to quality that you taste in every sip. At $55 to $70 for the Brut, Taitinger occupies premium territory without crossing into luxury excess. It's the champagne sommeliers recommend when elegance matters more than opulence. Food pairing champions love it because its brightness cuts through rich dishes while complementing delicate ones. It makes oysters sing. It makes caviar dance. Critics sometimes call Taitinger too refined, too delicate for drinkers who want bold flavors and powerful structure. But that misses the point entirely. Taitinger doesn't want to be bold, it wants to be beautiful. And in pursuit of that singular vision, it succeeds brilliantly. This is champagne that reminds you why subtlety can be more powerful than strength. 7. Perrier-Jouët. Perrier-Jouët doesn't just make champagne, it makes art. Since 1791, this house has married winemaking and aesthetics in ways few producers dare attempt. The Belle Époque bottle, wrapped in painted white anemones, became an Art Nouveau icon before most people understood what Art Nouveau meant. But beneath the floral beauty lies champagne with real substance. The Grand Brut opens with expressive aromatics. Fresh flowers, ripe pear, and hints of honey drift from the glass with uncommon intensity. The palate follows with elegant precision. Creamy mousse, bright acidity, and flavors that layer beautifully. White peach, apple, citrus zest, and brioche. Notes develop across a long, refined finish. There's a roundness here, a generosity of fruit balanced by mineral tension that keeps everything lifted and fresh. Perrier-Jouët's philosophy centers on Chardonnay from the Côte des Blancs, particularly their Grand Cru vineyards in Cremant. These legendary plots provide the backbone for champagnes that combine power with elegance, richness with precision. The house style leans floral and expressive, champagnes that announce themselves without shouting. The Belle Époque bottlings take this even further. The vintage cuvée, released only in exceptional years, represents Perrier-Jouët at its most artistic. Its champagne is poetry, each sip revealing new layers of complexity. Floral notes intertwine with stone fruit and subtle spice, building toward finishes that linger for minutes. At $200 plus, it's luxury champagne that actually delivers luxury experiences. What makes Perrier-Jouët special is its refusal to choose between beauty and substance. Other houses prioritize one or the other. Perrier-Jouët insists both are essential. The bottles look like museum pieces because the champagne inside deserves that presentation. It's not marketing, it's integrity. At $60 to $80 for the Grand Brut, Perrier Jouet offers accessible entry into a house with genuine soul. You're not just buying champagne. You're buying into a vision that believes wine should feed both palate and spirit. In an industry often dominated by corporate thinking, that artistic commitment feels revolutionary. This is champagne that makes you pause, not just to taste, but to consider what you're experiencing. That contemplation earns it this elevated position. 6. Bollinger. Bollinger champagne doesn't whisper, it declares. Since 1829, this family-owned house in A has crafted champagnes that define power without sacrificing elegance. Walk into any serious wine bar and ask for champagne with backbone, structure, and personality, and they'll likely pour you Bollinger. This is champagne for people who want their bubbles to have something to say. The special cuvée, their non-vintage flagship, opens with dramatic aromatics. Ripe apple, toasted brioche, honey, and hints of spice announce themselves confidently. The first sip confirms this isn't delicate champagne. It's substantial, almost muscular, with creamy mousse, vibrant acidity, and flavors that grab your attention. Baked apple, roasted nuts, caramel, and subtle smoke from extensive barrel fermentation create layers of complexity. The finish is long and warming, fading slowly with echoes of toast and oxidative richness. Bollinger's distinctive character comes from radical traditional methods. They ferment base wines in old oak barrels, adding texture and subtle oxidation other houses avoid. They age reserve wines under cork and magnums, developing nutty complexity over years. They hold finished champagne in their cellars far longer than required, sometimes 3 times the legal minimum. These aren't shortcuts. These are centuries-old techniques most producers abandoned for efficiency. The result is champagne with uncompromising personality. Bollinger doesn't care about mass appeal. It cares about expressing terroir through craft. That single-minded vision attracts serious collectors and enthusiasts who appreciate wines with point of view. This is James. Bond's champagne, yes, but it earned that association through quality, not product placement. At $70 to $90, Bollinger demands investment. But what you're buying isn't just liquid. You're buying philosophy, heritage, and a house that refuses compromise. Food pairers love it because it stands up to rich dishes. Collectors love it because it ages beautifully. Drinkers love it because it tastes like champagne with backbone. Critics sometimes call it old-fashioned, stuck in tradition while the world moves forward. Bollinger would consider that a compliment. In an era of industrial champagne and corporate optimization, this house remains defiantly artisanal. That stubbornness, that refusal to bend, keeps Bollinger exactly where it belongs. Among the greats, earning respect with every powerful, uncompromising pour. 5. Paul Roger. Paul. Roger doesn't need to prove anything. When Winston Churchill drank your champagne throughout World War II and continued until his death, legacy is established. Founded in 1849 by Paul Roger himself, this family house in Epernay has spent nearly 2 centuries perfecting the art of understated excellence. No flash, no marketing gimmicks, just consistently brilliant champagne. The Brut Reserve opens with classic elegance. White flowers, citrus, and subtle brioche create inviting aromatics that promise sophistication without pretension. The palate delivers on that promise beautifully. Fine, persistent bubbles, creamy texture, bright acidity balancing ripe fruit. Flavors of apple, pear, lemon zest, and almond develop across a long, refined finish that fades with mineral precision. Every element sits in perfect proportion, nothing overstated, nothing missing. What makes Paul Roger exceptional is its commitment to balance above all else. Other houses chase power or delicacy or complexity as singular goals. Paul Roger insists that great champagne needs all 3 in harmony. The house style achieves this through meticulous sourcing, blending 35 reserve wines into their non-vintage, and aging everything longer than required. The result is champagne that tastes complete, mature, and utterly reliable. The Sir Winston Churchill Cuvée takes this philosophy to its pinnacle. Released only in exceptional vintages and aged for years before release, it represents Paul Roger's ultimate expression. Rich yet elegant, powerful yet refined. It's champagne that earns comparisons to liquid gold. At $300 plus, it's priced for special occasions. But those who've tasted it understand the value. At $60 to $75 for the Brut Reserve, Paul Roger offers accessible excellence. It's the champagne serious collectors always have in their cellars, ready for moments when quality matters more than flash. Restaurants with great wine programs stock it, knowing it will never disappoint. Home enthusiasts buy it when they want to remind themselves what great champagne tastes like. The house remains family-owned and fiercely independent, resisting corporate buyouts and maintaining control over every decision. That independence shows in the champagne's consistency and integrity. Paul Roger isn't chasing trends or quarterly profits. It's chasing perfection, the same way it has for a century and a half. That unwavering focus, that refusal to compromise, makes it one of champagne's eternal greats. Your Ruinart. Ruinart holds a distinction no other champagne house can claim. It's the oldest, founded in 1729 by Nicolas Ruinart, shortly after sparkling wine became legal. For nearly 3 centuries, the house has refined and elevated champagne into art. Its chalk cellars beneath rams, carved by Roman slaves, speak to a history as enduring as the liquid inside. The Art de Ruinart Brut opens with white flowers, citrus blossom, and subtle brioche, revealing bright, mineral-driven Chardonnay flavors of lemon zest, green apple, and chalk, all lifted by vibrant acidity. The Blanc de Blancs takes this further. 100% Chardonnay, aged 3 years minimum, expressing pure terroir with creamy texture and elegance. Ruinart's philosophy centers on Chardonnay supremacy, sourcing from Côte de Blanc Grand Cru vineyards to achieve precision and luminosity. Innovation lives within tradition here. Pioneering elongated bottles and championing Chardonnay, the house maintains quality across centuries, now under LVMH. At $80 to $100 for Art de Ruinart, you're buying legacy and liquid poetry, champagne that demands attention, rewards patience, and embodies 3 centuries of refinement in every restrained, profound sip. 3. Laurent Perrier. Laurent Perrier champagne carries authority without arrogance. Founded in 1812 and transformed under Marie-Louise de Nonancourt in the 20th century, the house has spent 2 centuries perfecting champagnes that balance tradition with innovation. La Cuvée Brut opens with citrus zest, white flowers, and subtle brioche, leading to a refined palette of fine mousse, vibrant acidity, and layered flavors of lemon, green apple, white peach, and almond across a long, mineral-driven finish. Laurent Perrier pioneered Brut when sweet styles dominated, created the modern rosé with 100% macerated Pinot Noir, and championed Chardonnay when Pinot prevailed. Grand Siècle blends 3 exceptional vintages, producing complexity unattainable in single-year champagnes, while Cuvée Rosé offers remarkable structure, strawberry and raspberry aromas, and mineral balance. At $70 to $90 for La Cuvée, the house provides accessible entry into a philosophy where tradition and innovation coexist. Laurent Perrier doesn't shout. Its liquid speaks quietly, confidently, and brilliantly, a testament to a house that has earned its place among champagne's most respected. 2. Veuve Clicquot. Veuve Clicquot isn't just champagne, it's revolution in a bottle. When Barbe Nicole Ponsardin took over her late husband's house in 1805, widowed at 27, women weren't supposed to run businesses. She did, transforming champagne forever by inventing the riddling table and building an empire that still bears her name. The yellow label Brut announces itself with ripe apple, brioche, and subtle honey, leading to rich mousse, vibrant acidity, and complex flavors of baked apple, toast, vanilla, and spice across a long finish. Veuve Clicquot emphasizes Pinot Noir, giving weight, warmth, and structure uncommon in Chardonnay-focused houses. Vintage bottlings like La Grande Dame showcase depth and complexity, rivaling even Krug and Dom Perignon. What makes the house remarkable is consistency at scale. Millions of bottles are produced annually without sacrificing quality. The yellow label symbolizes ambition, female entrepreneurship, and refusal to accept limits. At $60 to $75 for yellow label, it offers exceptional value, delivering reliability, elegance, and celebration-ready excellence. Veuve Clicquot is a champagne that never disappoints, a cultural and vinous icon, second only to one final house that defines the category itself. 1. Krug. Some champagnes you drink, Krug you experience. Since 1843, this house has operated under a singular philosophy. Every bottle must achieve perfection, regardless of cost, time, or compromise. While many producers prioritize efficiency or profit, Krug prioritizes craftsmanship above all else, creating champagne that transcends its category. The Grand Cuvée exemplifies this approach, blending over 120 individual wines from more than 10 vintages, including decades-old reserve wines, each fermented separately in small oak barrels, a practice nearly abandoned by other houses due to its labor-intensive nature. Months of careful tasting, retasting, and blending are followed by years of aging, producing depth, complexity, and harmony no hurried champagne can replicate. When poured, Krug is thick and golden, with an aromatic richness that fills the room. Brioche, honey, dried fruits, nuts, spices, and subtle smoke all mingle in a symphony of scent. The mousse is creamy and persistent, while flavors of hazelnut, caramelized apple, orange marmalade, gingerbread, and even hints of truffle emerge in waves, perfectly balanced by lively acidity. Krug rejects the conventional vintage hierarchy, showing that greatness comes from blending, not a single year. Rare vintage releases are reserved for truly exceptional harvests, highlighting the house's uncompromising philosophy. At $220 for the Grand Cuvée, you're purchasing more than champagne. You're buying decades of meticulous decisions, slow aging, and obsessive craft distilled into liquid form. Revered by collectors, sommeliers, and enthusiasts, Krug is not just a drink. It is an experience, the pinnacle of champagne, and the standard by which all others are measured. Every sip is a testament to the house's enduring pursuit of perfection. And there you have it. 15 champagne brands ranked from forgettable fizz to liquid legend, from bottles that trade on marketing to houses that earned their reputations one perfect sip at a time. Which one tops your list? Did we get it right or completely miss? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's keep this debate flowing. Hit like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time for another brutally honest ranking. Until then, may your glasses stay full and your bubbles stay fine. Cheers.